It's a bitterly cold winter night, and you are already regretting taking this delivery. The snow is falling hard, blanketing the roads and making every mile feel like a journey into the unknown. You peer through the windshield as your car struggles along the desolate, snow-covered road, the headlights barely cutting through the storm. It's your last delivery of the night, but something about it feels off. The directions lead you deep into a forested area you've never been to. There are no streetlights, no other cars. The GPS keeps rerouting, and your phone signal is getting weaker. You crank the heat in your car, but the cold seems to creep in anyways, biting at your fingertips. You can't help but to glance in your rearview mirror. Nothing but darkness behind you. But that doesn't ease your growing sense of unease. After what feels like an eternity, your phone buzzes. It's the customer. The voice on the other end is shaky, almost desperate. "Hey, you almost here? I'm starving. I'll meet you outside. Just hurry, okay?" You try to ask for more details, but the call drops. You're done again, the silence deafening except for the crunching snow beneath your tires. The GPS tells you that the cabin is just up ahead, but the road is getting worse. Trees loom on either side of you, the branches bare, covered in frost. You wonder why anyone would live this far out, especially in the dead of winter. Finally, through the falling snow, you see a faint light. The cabin is small, more like a shack. The porch light flickers, casting long, eerie shadows across the snow. No sign of the customer yet. You pull up and park. Take a deep breath before grabbing the pizza from the passenger seat. The temperature drops even more when you step outside, the cold air hitting you like a wall. As you trudge through the snow towards the cabin, you notice something. There are no footprints, no tire tracks, no sign that anyone's been here for days. The breath clouds in the air as you knock on the door. No answer. You knock again, louder this time, feeling the weight of the silence around you. There's a sense that something's wrong, but you can't quite place it. You are about to turn around when you hear something behind you, a faint rustling in the trees. At first you think it's the wind, but then you hear it again, closer this time. You turn slowly, the hair on the back of your neck standing up. Your eyes can scan the tree line, barely visible through the snow. There's movement, just a shadow at first, something tall and thin, lurking between the trees. You blink and it's gone. Your heartbeat quickens. You tell yourself it's just the cold playing tricks on your mind. You knock again, harder, trying to convince yourself that the customer is just inside, but deep down you know there's no one there. Suddenly, your phone buzzes again, a new message. You fumble with it, trying to open it with numb fingers. The text is short, just 3 words. It's watching you. Your blood runs cold. You whip around, staring into the forest. There, standing just at the edge of the tree, is a figure again. This time, you see it clearly. Its body is emaciated, tall and unnaturally thin. The thing's face is hidden in shadow, but you can see the outline of long, jagged antlers, like those of a deer. Its eyes, they're hollow, empty, but you feel its gaze, and with it, a deep, primal fear. You take a step back, almost slipping on the icy ground. The creature doesn't move, but you can hear it breathing, slow, ragged breaths, and they send chills down your spine. You drop the pizza and bolt for your car, your feet slipping and sliding in the snow. Behind you, you hear it move. Fast, much faster than anything that size should be able to move. You reach your car, hands shaking as you fumble on the door handle. You throw yourself inside, slamming the door and locking it in one swift motion. The creature is gone. You sit there, gasping for breath, your heart pounding. For a moment, you think it's over, but then you hear a soft tap on the window. You freeze, slowly, and turn your head. It's standing right outside your window, its bony fingers tapping on the glass. Its face, now fully visible in the dim light, is a grotesque mask of decayed flesh stretched over a skull. The antlers are enormous, protruding from its head like twisted branches, and its mouth is twisted into a horrifying grin, showing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. You scream, but no sound comes out. The creature's hollow eyes stare into yours, and you feel a cold like you've never felt before. It's the cold of death, of something ancient and evil. Then, with one final breath, everything goes black. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today, we're going over the Wendigo. The Wendigo is by far one of my favorite Native American legends. It comes from the Algonquin legends on the eastern seaboard of the United States and up into Canada. This is one of the coolest cryptids and Native American mythological creatures out there, in my opinion. I chose to depict it in the story with antlers. Normally they don't have antlers, but in my mind, every time I think of the Wendigo, I see antlers on it. That's just how I see it. Let's get into it. If you like what we do here, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know. I'm interested to hear what all of your favorite kind of Native American creatures are. Let's get into it. The Wendigo legend comes from the oral traditions of the Algonquin-speaking peoples, including the Cree, Ojibwa, and others who lived in the northern forests of the United States and Canada. These tribes lived in some of the most unforgiving environments on the continent, where winters were long and resources were scarce. In this harsh landscape, the Wendigo was born, a symbol of greed, hunger, and desperation. The Wendigo is more than just a monster. It's a cautionary tale. It represents the consequences of unchecked hunger and the breaking of taboos. According to legend, a person could become a Wendigo by resorting to cannibalism, even in the face of extreme starvation. The act would transform them into a creature consumed by hunger, eternally starving, always seeking to devour more flesh. Descriptions of the Wendigo vary, but common traits include a gaunt, skeletal appearance, its towering height, often said to be over 15 feet tall, and its horrifying beast-like features. Some stories say it has the head of a deer with antlers protruding from a skull-like face. Others describe it having glowing eyes and sharp claws. The Wendigo's hunger is insatiable. No matter how much it eats, it remains starving. Its very existence is defined by its endless desire to consume, which makes it one of the most terrifying creatures in North American folklore. I also chose to do this because I'm slowly working on a book of short stories about the Wendigo. I have about 15 short stories so far. I'm hoping to get more and then publish it later on. I don't know if it will ever get published. I've already tried to publish it once and Google Play said no, so I think I need to add more to it before I try it again, but eventually that will get done. Wendigo Syndrome. The Wendigo legend isn't just relegated to stories. It has a dark and disturbing presence in real history. Throughout the 19th century and early 20th centuries, cases of what became known as Wendigo Syndrome or Wendigo Psychosis were documented among indigenous communities and settlers alike. This so-called psychosis involved individuals who became consumed by the craving for human flesh they believe were transforming into Wendigos. One of the most infamous cases is that of Swift Runner, a Cree man who lived in Alberta during the late 1800s. Trapped in the wilderness with his family during a particularly harsh winter, Swift Runner resorted to cannibalism, despite being only 25 miles from the nearest settlement. When he was found, he claimed the Wendigo had possessed him, driving him to murder and eat his own family. This case was an isolated one. Similar incidents were reported in Canada and parts of the United States, often during times of extreme famine. Many believe these stories stemmed from a combination of starvation, isolation, and mental illness, but the legend of the Wendigo only grew stronger with each new report. Even in modern times, the concept of Wendigo psychosis is studied by psychologists and historians, although it is no longer recognized as a legitimate medical condition. However, the legacy of these historical cases still sends chills down the spines of those who hear them. Modern sightings and encounters. In the centuries since the Wendigo legend first appeared, sightings of the creature have continued to be reported. Even today, people living in remote areas of Canada and the northern United States claim to have encountered something strange lurking in the woods, something that fits the description of the Wendigo. One of the most chilling modern encounters happened in the mid-1990s when a group of hunters in northern Minnesota reported seeing a tall, emaciated figure moving through the trees near their camp. They described it as having long, skeletal limbs and a face that looked disturbingly human, but stretched and distorted, like something out of a nightmare. They fled the area immediately and later shared their story with the authorities. Other reports have come from as recently as 2020, where hikers in the wilderness near Ontario claimed to hear strange, guttural growls and saw massive footprints leading deep into the forest. While no concrete evidence has ever been captured, these stories add fuel to the fire of the Wendigo legend. So, I hadn't known much about these more modern sightings, and I have kind of my own thoughts and opinions on the Wendigo. It's a good way that the Native Americans they found some way to describe what they were saying, much like a lot of the older cultures in the world with their mythology and all that. They were trying to find ways to describe what they were seeing at the time that they didn't understand. They didn't understand that somebody could be starving enough. They didn't understand that somebody would be starving enough to eat a family member. Now there's something that happens in the brain when you're starving, that your brain drops all of those kind of safeguards that that it keeps in itself, like the thought that's like, oh, I could never do that, I would never do that, I would never harm anybody to do that. But when you're starving to death, your brain turns all of that off and all you can think about is eating. That's just how it is. Your brain will do whatever it can to survive, even if that means killing another person to eat them. It's wild what your brain will do. Your brain is hardwired to survive. That's science. Like, that's empirical fact. Your brain will do whatever it can. It's also hardwired to recognize faces and all that kind of stuff. Which is why pareidolia is a thing, but that's a discussion for another time. The Wendigo and pop culture. In recent years, the Wendigo has cemented its place in popular culture, from movies and TV shows to video games and literature, even here on YouTube. This terrifying creature has become a staple of the horror genre. One of the most famous depictions is in video game series Until Dawn, where the Wendigo is portrayed as a grotesque, skeletal creature that haunts its victims in the wilderness. It's also in Stephen King's Pet Sematary. The Wendigo is the thing in the woods that reanimates all of the bodies. If you guys didn't know that, that's canon to his story. It's also popular because of Wendigoon, who is of Native American ancestry. You guys might know Wendigoon. The mascot for his channel is the Wendigo, and he's just a super nice dude. Like, he's chill.
What's up, dog?
He's judging me. Look at him back there. Look at him back there judging me. Why do you talk to the camera? Why are you doing it? Why did you talk to the camera? The Wendigo isn't just a monster of the North. It's a symbol, a warning of what can happen when desperation, isolation, and greed take over. From ancient folklore to documented historical cases, this creature continues to haunt the dark corners of the human consciousness. Whether it's through the chilling stories passed down by the Algonquin people, modern-day sightings, or its depiction in pop culture, the Wendigo has cemented itself as one of the most terrifying creatures in North American folklore. What makes the Wendigo truly terrifying is not just its monstrous appearance, but the idea that anyone could become one. The stories tell us that under the right circumstances, starvation, madness, and a touch of the supernatural, anyone could lose their humanity, becoming a creature driven solely by an unquenchable hunger. It's a creature that reminds us of the thin line between human and beast, between sanity and madness. As we've seen, the Wendigo isn't just a story to scare children around the campfire. It's a reflection of the darkest parts of the human experience, born in the harsh winters of the North and kept alive through centuries of fear and fascination. So next time you find yourself alone in the woods, especially in the dead of winter, with the wind howling through the trees, remember, you might not be alone. There might be something watching, something hungry. And if you hear that eerie whisper in the wind, well, you know what it means. Would you dare to come face to face with Wendigo? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, subscribe if you want to, and hit that little notification bell. That way you get notified whenever we upload new videos. Till next time, stay safe, guys. And stay out of the woods. Just kidding. I love the woods. I will always. The woods are my happy place. So if I die from anything, any mythical creature, it's going to be a Wendigo or a Bigfoot getting me. So if I stop uploading, just assume it was the Wendigo or the Bigfoot. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out and get something to eat, and then I might play some games later. I don't know yet. There's a lot of stuff that needs done, but see you later.
Where others fail